is, what are we even doing here, honestly? Like, what is the general objective of these parenting experts trying to make you feel bad for your natural parenting instincts, trying to redefine everything we've known to be true about child rearing for thousands of years, and specifically trying to make you like a target in many ways if you're not part of this new age of parenting, as they call it? I think first and foremost, they're trying to infantilize parents. They're trying to make parents be made to feel incapable without a so-called expert telling them exactly what instincts they are and are not allowed to have. They want you to feel too stupid to raise or educate or set appropriate boundaries for your kids. I shared this recently on a podcast where I was asked about homeschooling, and I talked about a conversation I had with my dad about a year ago. Incidentally, I think it was actually like 2 days before I found out I was pregnant, which is so fun. But he was driving me to a speaking engagement in Colorado, and we started talking about homeschooling and asking why he and my mom didn't really consider homeschooling for us when we were kids. At the time, it was very, very difficult. There were a lot of roadblocks to it. You had to get tons of different exemptions for everything. And we knew two families who had homeschooled very briefly throughout elementary school, and they all ended up coming back into the traditional education system. And my dad, I will never forget, told me, and this is my highly educated father. My parents are both attorneys. They're practicing attorneys. They paid their own way all through college and law school. They are very intelligent, well-educated people. I will never forget my dad saying, honestly, when we asked ourselves if homeschooling was even an option when you and your sisters were little girls, we genuinely believed that we were too stupid to educate you. And I think that's the problem, right? The system has convinced entire generation of parents, he said, to believe that they are too stupid to educate their own kids. So they feel the need to have experts tell them what to do, to have the experts, the licensed people, just do it instead. They have infantilized parents to still depend on a different authority figure rather than rising to the occasion of being the authority figure themselves. To ignore your instincts, which are baked into you by God, intentionally, as a mom or as a dad, to believe you're a bad mom or you're a bad dad, unless you listen to the hyper 6-time PhD level expert tell you that you need to ask for your baby's permission to change their diaper. And in the process of infantilizing parents, I think what they're actually doing is they're pathologizing. It's a long word, I know. Pathologizing, creating a pathogen out of normal childhood behavior. So they're turning everything essentially into a diagnosis, which is a much bigger problem in conversation related to big pharma and big food and just the pathologizing of everything in society. But if your child is throwing tantrums, if they're being too clingy with you, if they're very shy, or if they're the opposite of that, if they're very hyperactive, or they constantly want to ask questions and run around and be outside, if they're just a normal kid, all of these things are reframed as being some sort of psychological disorder instead of normal childhood development, which is why we are overdiagnosing problems. We are over-medicating kids way too early in life. And we, as infantilized parents, needing to listen to the experts, believe that there is something inherently wrong with our children in need of medication if they are upset about something, if they are shy around certain people, if they are way too hyperactive and constantly wanting to be outside and can't be chained to a desk for 8 hours a day. And all of those things are working together with one clear objective in mind. And this has become so much more clear to me since having a child that I think warrants a much larger societal conversation about this. The so-called experts want us to outsource our wisdom and our parenting experience to academics and to influencers, in the end goal of making our children not our own, but the collective our children. How many times have we heard Kamala Harris say in the last few years that the children of the community are the children of the community? They are literally getting the experts to tell you, you did a bad job. Something's wrong with your kid. We're going to medicate your kid. And oh, by the way, in the process, we're going to remind you that if you feel a special attachment to your own child, as we just talked about in studies published like a decade ago, there's something wrong with you. Fundamentally. There's something wrong with your child, and there's something wrong with you because you can't let go of this special attachment to your own kid. It's weird that you as a parent don't want the so-called experts to help you raise your kids. That is wrong. That's really wrong. And honestly is very sinister because we are gaslighting and brainwashing and indoctrinating entire generations plural of parents to like outsource our kids to other people all the time, which is, I believe, the precursor to children literally becoming like the children of the community, a la The Giver, which if you haven't read that recently, highly recommend. I just reread it the other day, and it is so, so good. One of the best books ever written. I read it for the first time in 5th grade, and it just hits totally different as a parent. But who are we outsourcing our parently wisdom to these academics and these influencers? Many parenting influencers are in their 20s and 30s and are completely childless. In fact, this might be a really spicy thing to say, a lot of the content I'm even seeing in the conservative movement about parenting and about having babies is coming from childless content creators and podcast hosts and people who are single. They're not even married. This is like not remotely in their radar. Many of these academics that are writing these studies and giving these lectures and interviews to the mainstream media, again, the experts, have not raised children or they don't spend time with their children at all. And yet these are the people who are setting the cultural tone for actual parents navigating real world challenges. That's unsettling to me. And is something that I'm really just beginning to notice, especially coming out of the immediate postpartum experience, but still receiving a whole lot of like parenting content constantly being shoved at me and seeing a lot more conversations around childbearing, child rearing, and the role of moms and dads in the academic space and in the social media space. It is unsettling. And it should be unsettling to all of us that some of the loudest voices associated with this do not have kids. Again, I said at the beginning of the episode that I am not ever going to call myself a parenting expert. Truth is, I have literally no idea what I'm doing, although I will say I'm quite beautifully surprised by what has come naturally to me just based on what is a beautiful part of human instinct, right? That God designed me this way. And from the very beginning, I have been astounded by my ability as a mom, even when I genuinely was bringing a baby home for the very first time in the first few days, had no idea what I was doing, like figuring it all out in real time, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour at a time. I've been really astounded what just came naturally, that I could leap out of bed in the middle of the night when I was completely exhausted, that I almost instantly started to recognize what cry my daughter was crying. Is she hungry? Does she need a diaper change? Is she just bored? Does she need to be picked up? Does her stomach hurt? Whatever. That all has been astounding to me, but as the very clearly self-described non-expert in parenting, I've come to realize that the only real parenting experts are indeed parents, right? And I think it's important for us to remember the advice that you're getting from your moms and your grandmas and your great-grandmas, the generational wisdom that we have passed down through millennia of human history, is so much more valuable than viral parenting TikTok accounts or random academics who work at the Harvard universities of the world and the therapy speak that has taken over new age parenting. Just as I had no idea what I was doing the first time I had a daughter and became a mom, I also had no idea what I was doing when I started my own business for the first time. The whole journey can be so overwhelming and confusing, but thankfully that is exactly where today's sponsor, Shopify, comes in. Shopify powers millions of businesses worldwide and handles 10% of all U.S. e-commerce, supporting everyone from major household names to new entrepreneurs who are just starting out. Even if you have no idea what you're doing and you can't even design a website, you are covered right from the beginning with their beautiful, ready-to-use templates that can match your brand's unique style. If you need extra help along the way, their AI tools are specifically built for commerce and can assist with everyday tasks like enhancing your product images, writing writing compelling product descriptions, or even generating discount codes. If you're worried that people haven't heard about your brand yet, Shopify makes it so simple to find your customers through easy-to-run email and social media campaigns that help to get your name out there in front of the right people. And if you ever get stuck or you have any questions at all, you are never alone. Their award-winning customer support team is available 24/7 to help share advice and guide you through any challenges that you might face. You can turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Isabel. Go to shopify.com/Isabel. Again, one more time, that is shopify.com/Isabel.